Hey, if you are in a kundalini syndrome or spiritual emergency and you're experiencing strong head pressure, headaches, and symptoms like those, stick to the video because I'm gonna share some information about it and hopefully some techniques that can help you relieve the symptoms. I am Alan. I had a kundalini awakening in 2018. I wasn't prepared for it because I was agnostic, completely rational, logical person. I didn't care about kundalini, chakras, spirits and anything, but I had a kundalini awakening and I thought I was nuts for a lot of years, and I tried to refuse the whole thing, and it made things worse. There was no guidance at the time, there was no help, and today we did not make any much progress. That's why I'm here. I am on a mission to help people like me that were left alone in this kundalini crisis. I lost everything I had at the time. Everything. I was pretty much homeless, and I don't want this to happen to anyone. So this is why I'm shooting this videos and started this channel, this YouTube channel. Now, back to the matter in question today. We're talking about the pressure in the head. This is, I would argue, one of the most common symptom during a kundalini awakening. I think this is the first, even one of the first that appears. It's again, it's pretty common, and for me it was, of course, one of the first signs. And how do you know if this is a genuine? Okay, first disclaimer: I always encourage you to, before think anything spiritual and do anything, engage in something to fix your spiritual side of things, go to a doctor and make sure that there is no real problem, physical problem underneath it. Yeah, you can argue the physical is just the image of the spirit. We're not talking about this today. The point is, if you're having an ache, make sure it's not a regular headache, and if you can use your intuition to understand that. And I used mine back in the days because to me it was pretty much sure it wasn't a regular headache, and it was something else, because I never had headaches in my life. I mean, I had, of course, but they were so rare that I couldn't even remember how it felt to have one. Okay, so when I had this persistent headache, I was sure it was not something on the physical plane only. It was something different. And let's see, how does this thing work? How does it manifest? Okay, of course, it's different for everyone, so I will not try to address all the possible kind of manifestations these symptoms have. You have to be using your intuition, but what I'm trying to say is that each case is unique, and it's difficult to say, to address all possible ways in which the symptoms manifest in you. But one of the most common thing is you're feeling like, which is what I felt like at the time, feeling like pressure in the third eye, like a pulse, something pulsating just behind here, and in general you feel like you're about to explode or implode, like somebody's pumping air inside your skull and you're about to burst, or differently, you feel like you're about to implode. And personally I felt like really it was pretty much as they describe in the books, like a fire moving up from the bottom toward my my throat and pushing up on the crown. Really, it felt like I had a fire inside, really like a flame inside of me. And what is this causing? What are the consequences of this symptom? Of course, it's hard to concentrate. It's hard to remember things. It gets harder to, of course, think like having an headache, but 10x headache. And of course, it will be. There is a lizard here who wants to talk. Anyway, it feels like a super headache, and fear. Fear might, differently from a normal headache, you might experience a lot of fear or other emotions, maybe anger. Again, this is very personal. There is no one recipe for everyone, but just keep in mind that this is because of the energy coming up. So the energy is coming up and is finding resistance. In general, this is true for any kind of symptoms during a kundalini awakening. If you feel pain, if you have any problem, it is because the energy, the prana, the chi is moving, is activated. So is in a state abnormal, which is, by the way, it's normal, but it's abnormal the way we live today. But the energy is activated and is trying to move in the body, in the meridians and the nadis and the nervous system, and it finds resistance because the body is not ready. So any kind of condition, I mean, we call it syndrome simply because the body is not ready. If it was ready, we wouldn't even felt. You wouldn't even feel the symptoms, the resistance. Okay, I always say, take two people. I always make the example of two twins. There are those two twins, and they have the same body biology. They are identical twins, and they live a completely different life. One is disciplined. One practice, spiritual. Have a spiritual practice, or even not necessarily spiritual practice, but he lives by virtue. He doesn't drink. He takes care of the body. He takes care of the mind. He is loving. And you take the other split twin, which was sent to another country with another family, and they live a life of dysregulated life. They drink, they take drugs, they don't sleep well, complete different life. And they're full of low vibration emotions and stuff like this. And imagine that they are hit by kundalini the same day, the same hour. They will have both two totally different experiences. One might feel like hell and the other might feel bliss, or not even nothing at all, because if the energy is activated and is able to move in the body, because the body is not dirt, there is no resistance. It's been trained like a pipe. If you have a small pipe and you try to push a lot of water into it, it will make resistance. It will start to vibrate and make noises. But if you increase the pipe size, you increase the capacity, and the flow of water will not cause any damage, any problem at all. This is the same thing. And so you're experiencing this headache because you're not prepared for it, and the energy is pushing upwards, because heaven and earth, what this energy is doing is trying to connect heaven and earth. So it wants to move from the bottom to the up and disperse through the corona, through the sky. But if you have resistance, and the resistance is what for me was a lot. I mean, for me it was clear. I didn't have a clue what that was. I had no idea what kundalini is. I never believed in chakras, in energy. I thought it was bullshit. So of course, I had a lot of fear, and when these things manifest, you resist it because you don't want it. You might, if you have a regular headache, you can say, okay, I got a headache. What are we gonna do? We're gonna take a pill, which is something I never did, and I do not suggest pills. But it's a regular headache, and you do something. You slow down and rest, or take a pill, whatever. But in this case, it's different, and you probably will feel fear, and fear of the unknown, basically, because this is something you never experienced, and it's comprehensible. A small, really, really small percentage of humans will ever experience this, so it's comprehensible, and fear is one of the things that is causing it. So one thing, this is normal. Let me help you normalize this. I know it's crazy. I know it sounds crazy, and believe me, I was a rational person. I didn't believe in this stuff, but it's possible. This energy exists, and it's normal. It's a normal thing. Now, let me check my notes here. Okay, you might feel not only this pressure of course, I said you can feel the pulsating here, but it could be different. You can feel the pressure in different areas, and you can also feel the jaw pain in the mouth, in the jaw, in the neck, of course, and this is very also connected. You could have tinnitus and hearing this high-pitched sounds which are not there physically, but you're hearing this high-pitched sounds, and this is pretty much a confirmation that it's not a normal headache. It's the prana which is very much pushing and accumulated and stored in the skull without any way to be relieved and leaving that area. Let's see what makes this thing worse. Of course, we already tried to say that resisting it is a bad idea, because what you resist persists, is the saying, and the more you resist it, the more it accumulates. You have to let it flow. We'll give you suggestions at the end of the video. Now, you can make it worse if you try to control it by manually overriding the direction of the energy. Maybe you feel like this is coming up and you want to, because you might know this, you can move the energy. When you have a kundalini awakening, you're much more able to sense the energy and thus be able to redirect it. And you might be trying to do this thing even here, but this might be not the best thing you can do. So let it flow the way it wants to flow. One thing I suggest, people here try to be scientific about Kundalini awakening, which I understand, but we are still not ready to treat Kundalini in a scientific way. We don't have ways to measure stuff yet. Maybe in the future we will have, once Kundalini becomes mainstream. But people may say that you have the head pressure because you are too much in your head, you are too much in your ego, you're basically too much intellectual and you want to understand too much what's going on. Which, well, I can agree with, because as a rational person, I wanted to know everything of it, the mechanics, how did it work. I wanted to crack the code, and as a computer programmer, I wanted to know how did it work, how the science behind it. And of course, I was spending my whole day googling stuff and trying to understand the mechanics of it. So some people might argue that the only reason for the headache is because you're thinking too much, which I can agree. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I would say it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The point is the energy is coming up, and if your nervous system is not ready, you're gonna feel that, despite if you're googling, if you're obsessive with searching information or not. Now, regardless, I tend to agree with the suggestion to not become obsessed with seeking information, which is which is pretty hard, I guess, if you are a curious person, and I guess you are. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had a Kundalini awakening. But yeah, curiosity is a good thing. You might watch stuff online, but don't get obsessed, because as soon as you get obsessed, you will put attention on the problem, and the more you think of one thing, the more it grows. What also make the headache worse? Everything that is about energy manipulation. Reiki, acupuncture, reconnection, homeopathy also, whatever it is that you're that can potentially interfere or manipulate your energy, your chi, the chi of your body. Even prayers. So, and this suggestion is valid even for all the other symptoms during a Kundalini awakening. Suspend any spiritual activity, meditation, staying in the present moment. Which sounds counterintuitive. Everybody says do more meditation or stay in the moment, experience the now, citing Eckhart Tolle. But I would say don't. The problem is there is the spirit and there is the matter. Kundalini is what connects matter and spirit, different dimensions. Your problem here is now that you pretty much, until yesterday, you were a materic person. You were drenched in the matter. You were a person of this world. Now Kundalini awakened, and it wants to bring you upwards, and wants you to see what's up there. It wants to elevate you to another dimension. It wants to show you there is another side of existence. Okay? And it's trying to push. And you're feeling all the symptoms, because you are sensitive now to this new information coming down on you. You do not have the habit. You did not prepare your body and mind. So you're overloaded by the energy. The solution is not to leave the matrix and be enlightened, and you will not leave this plane. You will stay here. You will live here. You have to stick until your physical body exists. So what I'm trying to say is that suspend any spiritual practice, because they are moving energy, they are generating energy. It's not the prayers, especially the ancient ones, are charged with energy. They are charged. They are not just words that we shot in the air. They have a measurable effect on our energetic field. How do I know this? I know this because back in the days I wasn't a spiritual person, but I used to like Joe Vitale. He's a famous author, and famous author of many books. The most famous is the Ho'oponopono practice. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. It's those 4 phrases that you repeat in a loop in your head, and that was basically the only prayer, the only kind of mantra I knew at the time. And during my Kundalini awakening, I clearly felt that reciting that prayer, that mantra, had a specific effect on the body, on the energetic field. And so did the Christian prayers. Each prayer had a different effect on the body. What I'm trying to say is, you have enough energy. There is no need for prayer or meditation or yoga. You have too much energy, and those practice. I mean, you do those practice when you try to elevate your consciousness. But at this point, there is no reason. You are already there. You are already overloaded. You should unload yourself. Okay, so suggestion is to suspend any spiritual practice, including prayer. Okay, or if you really need to pray, do it wisely. Feel your body, feel the effect on your body. Now, the timeline. Well, I want to add something else about what is going on actually. People say that I read that you're having a headache because your brain is rewiring and your neurons are evolving and you're upgrading. Your nervous system is about to upgrade, and yeah, this is one of the most grounded things I heard. But also people says you're going to 5D and bullshit like this. As soon as until I see any clinical data, and I think we will not have any clinical data for a few decades at least, I will not try to be speculative as many people try to, telling you what's going on, your DNA is evolving. We don't have data on it yet. So let's stay grounded. So even though I don't believe any of these affirmations, I do think that, yeah, so I admit that some kind of rewiring is happening. Not because Kundalini is actually changing DNA or stuff like this, but because, at least especially if you're a rational, logical person like I was, having a Kundalini awakening is really terrifying, is disruptive, because imagine you live your life in a way with a certain idea, a certain philosophy. And mine was that spirits, it wasn't real. It's all just cause and effect, which is real. Cause and effect is real, and you have you build your mind. You have like a pyramid. You have the foundations. You have the foundation, and over these foundations you start to build your mindset. Everything you know is always you always relate. any new information you get will always match the old information. During a kundalini awakening, it could be hard, because especially if you're a logical person, I thought, well, spirit and religion is useless. It's useless. It's a waste of time. There's not such thing. And you discover that, well, you were wrong 30 years. You were wrong for 30 years of your life. What's happening? Either you go into denial, which is something I tried, failed, of course. Otherwise, you have to accept that a new information is basically destroyed your whole pyramid, and you have all this pyramid smashed, exploding, and you have all you have all these pieces like a Lego pieces, and you have to now rebuild the whole thing based on the new information. Because believe me, if you live a life without acknowledging the spiritual world, then you have to rethink everything you ever known, even the old experiences, even an experience, a 20-year-old experience, you might need to reevaluate it with the new information. So it's a rewiring, yes, in this sense, because your brain is taking all the bits and reshaping everything non-stop. This is the reason also you cannot sleep, I guess, and you have so much anxiety and panic, and the fear during a kundalini awakening is even this, because you lived most of your life in the shadow. Now you have a new information which is denying, which is basically everything you know is like obsolete. I always used to say, the night I had a kundalini awakening, everything I knew became obsolete overnight, and that's the point. So this is one of the reasons you are having this condition. What to do to fix it? I got stuff on my paper coming from the tree. Now, what can you do? Well, first of all, how much will it last? It depends. Again, there is no a single formula for everyone. I might say that, as I said, is one of the first to appear, and it might be one of the last to go away. In my experience, I had it even after, of course, not every day, but I would occasionally have it and feel this headache, even 2 years after the main event, I call it the main event. I had it for 2 years, and yeah, it was more it was shorter in terms of time, but it was very strong, to the point I had to remember one night, of course, especially might come often at night, you know, or in the evening. I had to spend at least 15 minutes in this position, because it was the only way to let the energy go away, like it was leaving from my throat chakra. I don't know if this is a common symptom, if this is common for many people, but for me it was. So don't despair. The symptom is not, of course, going to last forever. There is a timeline. Of course, again, the problem is you're feeling this because your nervous system is not yet ready. So you have to work to prepare the body, the mind, to accept this energy. How to go from here? What to do? I have some general suggestions, and I have a technique which I pretty much suggest to everyone, which seems to be very effective. Let's go with the common. One thing you could do, and this is I suggest to do this regardless of the symptom. Any symptom you have, well, heck, I'm doing this pretty much every day, all day long, even though I don't have any symptom right now, those days. It's put the tip of your tongue over your palate, is the word in English, like this. You put your tongue behind the upper teeth. This is closing the circuit. It seems like the energetic circuitry of your body are disconnected by the mouth. Once you use the tongue to close it, the energy will flow in circle. This is common even when you do common Tai Chi move, Tai Chi, Qigong, or yoga poses. Let me pause the video because there's a helicopter here. Helicopter gone. Now, another simple trick is treat it like a normal headache. I know it's not a normal regular headache, but treat it like it is. If something I didn't do because I knew it was something different and I wanted to fix it now, and of course I didn't rest, so just treat it like a normal headache. Just accept it. Take a pause, take a rest, and don't push it. Pushing it makes things worse, okay? Another suggestion that I steal from NPL, neuro-linguistic programming, is this exercise which I used to use the rare times I had a headache back in the days, which is to imagine you have to relax, stay in a sit or lie position, and imagine your headache or your pressure, in this case, like a ball. So you relax and imagine that the whole thing is like a ball. You transform the pressure, the headache, in a ball. And then you try to do this thing. You try, in your imagination, to enlarge the ball. And you check what's going on in your head. To some people, and I'm one of those people, if I enlarge the ball, the headache, the pressure becomes stronger. They increase in intensity. If this is the case, do the opposite. You shrink the ball. Shrink the ball a little bit and you check with your symptoms. If they diminished a little bit, keep diminishing it. And this exercise worked really, really well on normal headache. And it might work even on this kundalini induced headache. So, simply as that. Imagine that your headache is a ball, enlarge it, and shrink it. One thing is, again, each and every one of us is different. Some people work, the opposite is real, is true. If they enlarge the ball, the pain subsides. If they shrink it, the pain increases. So, try both. Okay, try both methods. One last thing I want to share, and I will share a video, a complete video. I mean, you will find the link somewhere in this page of a technique which I call the dumb technique. is something that will work for any symptoms during a Kundalini awakening, not only the headache. Is let's say a general medicine which works very fine. I will not go into details right now. You will find a link somewhere on the page, maybe in the description, maybe on this video itself. I'm still new to YouTube, as you understand, and you know, I'm trying to figure out how things work. And what else? Well, this is pretty much all. To summarize, the headache is one of the first symptoms to show, and it's harder in the beginning. The reason is the same as any other symptom during a Kundalini awakening. Your body, your nervous system is not completely ready to welcome this strong energy. What not to do? Don't engage in, there's a lot of insects today. Don't engage in more spiritual practices. Those just increases the volume and the intensity of the energy. You want to download, remove the overload, relieve the energy. So don't obsess by searching stuff online. Curiosity is good, obsession is not. Try the techniques I gave you, and most importantly, try the DAM technique, which many people report to work very well to alleviate the symptoms. I work one-on-one with people. If you're trying to address your symptoms during a Kundalini awakening, you'll find a link in the description. Click on it and let's talk about it.